See, my house is on the other side of the tunnel. You can wait in my car until they arrive. The man then took out a knife from his pocket and held it near my throat. He screamed at me and said, "Just what it is, guys. It's your boy BHD, and today we are here to horrifyingly scare the life out of me listening to other people's terrifyingly scary stories. If you guys want to watch the original video, the link is in the description down below. It is by IMR Scary Stories. Make sure to go subscribe to them. Let's do this." Somehow stopped under a streetlight and decided to book an Uber for a safe journey home. With gloomy eyes and hazy vision, she booked a cab. The cab number read 2009. Riley waited for a few minutes. She looked around her. The wind and the silence of the night spooked her a bit. She thought to herself, "I should have listened to Casey. It was a bad idea to leave for home tonight." All kinds of tense thoughts were going through her mind when a pair of headlights appeared from the end of the road. A white-colored Uber kept coming towards her. Riley immediately gestured with her hand, and the Uber stopped right in front of her. She was so drunk that the bright headlights of the car made her vision even more blurry. She saw the number, 200. Oh, yes, this is it, and got into the cab. The cab driver looked at the rearview mirror and said, "Where will you go?" Riley replied, 21 IMR Street. Just drive faster." The driver had a weird smile on his face. He started the car and replied, "As you wish." Riley closed her eyes and sat for a few minutes. She started to feel a bit fine. As she opened her eyes, she saw they weren't on the highway anymore.
Why are her eyeballs red?
The car is now going through an old dusty road.
Oh, that's not good.
She got a bit tensed and said, "Hey, which road is this?" The car driver smiled and said, "I took a shortcut, madam. Don't worry."
Oh.
Riley checked the GPS, and there was indeed a connecting road at some distance from this one. The driver started to chat with her. "So, you live alone, huh?" the driver said. Riley replied, "Yeah." She was trying to keep the conversation as short as possible, but it seemed like the driver was hitting on her.
Uh-oh.
The driver then said something which ran a shiver down her spine. "You know, a beautiful girl like you should not roam in the streets at night all by herself. Haven't you heard of the incidents that are happening these days?" Riley suddenly remembered what her friend Sarah told her at the party. They were all sitting on the couch and having drinks when Sarah said, "Have you guys heard about the slit-throat killer?" Everyone got surprised, including Riley. Sarah went on saying that for the last couple of days, Atlanta cops have said to have discovered 3 bodies from the highways. It seemed like someone slit their throats and dumped their bodies in the bushes on the high road. The cops have no idea who did this, but they are suspecting that there might be a serial killer roaming the streets at night, luring people into traps and slicing their throats. All 3 bodies were found on abandoned, empty roads, pointing out that when they were killed, there wasn't anyone around the area. Riley got all tensed and immediately got charged up. But the horror was yet to unfold in front of her. She received a notification from her Uber app. Until now, she closed the app after getting into the car.
Oh, snap.
The notification read, "You have been charged for the canceled booking." Riley opened the app and realized she is stepping into grave danger.
There you going, baby.
Car number 2009 waited for her at the pickup location for almost 15 minutes.
Oh!
But as she didn't show up there, the driver just canceled the ride and left. If her ride has been canceled, then who is this person driving her right now?
Oh, he about to put stuff in her
Riley's
butt.
stomach dropped in fear. She couldn't speak or say a single word.
About to put stuff in her butt.
There is no point of screaming right now because there wasn't a single human being nearby.
Yup.
She can't call someone in front of this guy asking for help.
Yup.
Riley knew this man took her into his car with bad intentions. Is he the slit-throat killer everyone was talking about at the party?
Oh, yeah, that sucks.
Oh my God. Drops of sweat appeared on her forehead. Riley calmed herself down. The only way she can get out of this situation alive is if she uses her brain.
Yep, she gonna have to suck on something. You know what I'm saying? Think of it this way, ladies. Okay, you're actually lucky. Because as a guy, we get kidnapped by a dude, we're 100% dead. We can't offer a blowjob or nothing. We just get killed harder and faster if we do. Nothing gets you killed faster than hitting on a straight dude. It's pretty much a lose-lose.
The man looked at her from the rearview mirror and asked, "Are you all right, madam?"
What do your cheeks taste
Riley
like?
smiled and said, "Yeah, I'm fine. How long will it take?" The man replied in a cold voice, "Not much longer."
Oh,
The
hell
man's reply
no.
felt like something is about to happen at any moment now. Riley was praying to God to save her from this unknown guy
Don't you do this
and
to
his
me.
evil intentions.
Don't you do this to me.
Riley said to the driver, keeping her voice as calm as possible.
I go to church at least 3 times a year. You can't do this to me. Not now, Lord. Damn it. I've put $26 collectively into the plate, damn it.
What were you talking about back then? The driver said, "Oh, you mean the slit throat killer? Interesting guy, huh?" Then the man chuckled. Riley said, "Interesting. The cops are going to catch that killer soon. They have already found his victims' bodies." The driver laughed this time and replied, "Madam, the cops found his victims because he wanted them to. People like this are insane. You can't spot them out even if they come right in front of you. They wear masks to fool you." The more the driver spoke about this serial killer, Riley's heart started to beat faster. But suddenly, the car started to jerk hugely and the driver pulled the brake. The car stopped, making a loud noise. The driver got out of the car and lifted the hood to check the engine.
No!
Riley sat inside quietly. The driver then came close to her window and said, "I think there has been some issue in the engine. Wait inside as I check it out."
No!
Riley knew the end was near.
Run, bitch!
The man has probably stopped the car on his own and is now making this all up.
Run, bitch!
It's high time, and Riley needs to act.
Run!
The man again went in front of the car. Riley could hear the metal sound coming from behind the car bonnet.
Get out the car, ho!
She slowly opened the car door,
Yeah!
grabbing her bag in her hand,
Yeah!
then tiptoed to the back of the car.
Do that shit, bitch!
There were vast empty fields on one side and deep woods on the other side of the road. The driver said, "Looks like we have to think of some other option, madam. I don't think this car will start tonight. If you don't mind, my house is nearby. We can go there and call the mechanics." So this is why this guy took this road, Riley thought to herself. This guy wants to lure her into the woods now and murder her like his 3 other victims.
Protect your anus,
Riley
ho!
didn't respond. She stood at the back of the car as silently as possible. Riley knew this is her only chance.
Run, bitch!
She started to hear footsteps approaching her. With every step coming close to her, Riley slid to the opposite direction. By the time the driver reached behind the car, Riley went to his side. The driver got shocked as he realized Riley was missing. He said in a confused voice, "Madam, madam." Just then, he heard Riley's voice behind him. "Yes? What is it?" Riley said in a firm voice. Her eyes were wide and big.
Stupid bitch!
The driver got spooked for a moment.
Stupid!
He then said, "We can walk to my house and call for a mechanic." Riley smirked and replied, "You are not my ride, no? I booked a cab number 2009. Your cab is 2006. The cab driver smiled awkwardly and said, "Well, you asked for a lift and I could use some extra cash, so I thought I'd drive you, but I took a wrong shortcut. Please don't call the cops on me, madam." Riley looked at him and said, "For a moment, I thought you were the slit-throat killer." The man laughed awkwardly and said, "No, madam. I am definitely not that creepy guy. Please believe me." Riley laughed and said, "You are wrong again. It's not a he, but a she."
What?
The driver spoke in a terrified face. "What?"
What?
Riley took out her shining knife
Oh,
and
shit!
lifted her hand.
Run,
Her
nigga!
innocent face turned into a devil.
We fucked up!
She smiled in a horrible way and sliced the driver's
Run,
throat
bitch!
with one slash.
Oh!
The man felt lifeless on the floor while choking on his own blood.
Oh, damn.
She then washed her hands with a water bottle inside her bag. She always carries water with her.
These hoes
It is
ain't
better to
loyal.
wash off the blood immediately
Hoes
before it
ain't
dries
shit.
out on her skin. She pushed the body in the ditch nearby the dusty road with a kick. The high road is 5 minutes walk from there. She reached the highway and booked herself an Uber this time. It was 12 o'clock at night. Riley got inside the car and said to the driver, "Drive me home. I feel tired." Next day, the news flashed. New body found near an old dusty road at the town outskirt. Cops are saying this is the 4th victim of the slit-throat killer. The victim was an Uber driver, probably coming home that night.
He was trying to smash. Come on, yo. No, my car broke down. We just gonna have to call for a mechanic at my house. I've got tea and lube just in case you want to release some steam into my face.
As he had no bookings in the record. It seems like the killer stopped his car and lured him into his trap like every other victim. The senior commissioner of police has said they are going to catch this man very soon and put him behind bars for the rest of his life. Riley sipped from her coffee cup and gave an evil smile as she watched the news, sitting on her living room couch.
Damn. Damn.
This happened last month. I am a 26-year-old male living in Atlanta. I took a side job as an Uber driver. I worked morning shift in a garage so that I can drive Uber at night. I preferred the Uber night shift because of less traffic. Anyways, one night I was finishing up a trip nearby the city mall around 8:30. It was a long summer night. I decided to take one more trip and go home to enjoy my weekend in peace. I waited near the mall to get another trip request, but I kept waiting for 10 or 15 minutes and nothing happened. Being disappointed, I thought to call it a day and return home. I lived in a small cabin at the outskirts. I took the highway and started to drive home. I put on some music and opened the car window. A cool breeze came in and gave me some relief. I lit a cigarette and kept driving in a light mood. I couldn't wait to return home and sleep till noon the next day. Everything was going fine until I reached near the highway tunnel.
Yeah, ho.
IMR Highway has a huge tunnel that connects the city with the outskirt area.
Yeah, ho.
I was almost near the tunnel. Due to the roads being completely empty, I was driving a bit faster. I was almost 10 to 15 hands distance from entering the tunnel when a man sprinted in front of my car in the bushes. I pushed the brake so hard that the car stopped, making the tires screech loudly. I got extremely scared, thinking I might have hurt that guy. My eyes kept searching for that man, but he was nowhere to be found. Suddenly, a hand grasped my shoulder from the window. At first, I was scared like hell, but then I got my shit together and looked out the window. I saw a man in his late 30s panting and gasping for air. He said in a broken voice, "Please, help me, please." I realized he is in danger or something similar. I asked him, "What is it? Why are you freaking out like this?"
That's one of the rules of surviving a scary movie, all right? Never help, ever. Never, ever. You see somebody dying on us, oh my God, my baby. Oh my God, no, I'm sorry. You gotta roll the window right up, no, I'm not my baby, bitch, and just keep driving. You can't fall for the okie doke, okay? You remember the beginning of Last of Us? That's how they got Tom. And he ain't even in Last of Us, but he did not.
The man looked here and there as if someone is out there looking for him.
Nope.
He then said in a whispering voice, "They are searching for me. Please, you must help me."
Nope.
I got out of the car and looked around. Being honest, there wasn't a single creature nearby.
What are you doing?
The wide, empty highway was filled with the sounds of crickets chirping. I stared at the tunnel to check if someone was there. The long, hollow tunnel had nothing but yellow lights in it.
White people be
I
fucking
asked
up.
the man, "Who are you searching for?" The man said in a terrifyingly low voice,
As a black man, absolutely not. I'd have been up out of that. No. See? Being friendly, you about to lose everything.
"The shadow people. They want me dead."
No.
I
See?
was out of my mind at that time.
See?
I didn't know what the hell this guy was talking about.
Nigga.
I said, "Is this some kind of a sick joke? 'Cause I'm really not in the mood right now." The man got inside the car. He sat in the driver's seat and said, "Just drive. We must leave this place right now. They're coming." I got into the car cluelessly. I told the man, "Let me call 911 for you. See, my house is on the other side of the tunnel. You can wait in my car until they arrive." The man then took out a knife from his pocket and held it near my throat. He screamed at me and said, "Just fucking drive. I'm not gonna die at the hand of those shadow people." I didn't know what to do then. I was stronger than the guy. I would have knocked him out immediately.
No, you wouldn't have.
If the knife wasn't pointed at me.
You think?
I said in a low but firm voice, listen, let's just relax. I will drive you wherever. You can just take the knife down. The man started screaming again. Looks like you have no fear of death. If you don't drive right now. Before he could finish the sentence, he looked at the back of the car and became numb. He was staring like a statue. I asked, what is wrong with you? There is no such thing called shadow people. Stop this insanity and let me call 911 for help.
Crazy People 101. If someone's talking about shadow people after him and has a knife to your throat, don't tell him shadow people don't exist. Go along with it, stupid. Yeah, the shadow people. Yo, hey, oh my God, hey, you're right. Yo, hey, you know, matter of fact, we got to get out of here. But it's hard for me to do that with the knife on my throat. I know about the shadow people. They're after you too. Look, we got to get out of here. Be his friend, nigga. Be his friend, bitch.
Help. The man then said,
Nigga.
Oh my God, they are watching us now.
God.
I turned around to see what the hell he was talking about, looking at the backside of the car. I knew it was something made up by his crazy mind, but as I looked, my heart dropped into my stomach. Who are these people? Where did they come from? I swear, guys, there was a group of black shadows standing on the road. Nothing was visible except darkness on their entire body. The man said, now do you believe me? Drive, drive. I said in a panicked voice, what the hell? Who are these people?
Drive, stupid!
Why do they look like that?
Drive, you
The man
stupid
said,
son of a
they're all dead.
I'd have cut this thing up. I would have stabbed this motherfucker. If you want to deal with the shadow people, then you get out and talk to them. You conversate with them. I'm not doing it. I'd have cut this nigga, kicked him out of his own car, and drove off. Say I wouldn't have. I'm not going down because somebody asked questions, damn it. There's no point in asking questions. We need action.
And now they want my soul.
Action!
The group started to walk towards our car. I can't explain the horror, because even if there were 10 to 12 people, not a single step taken by their foot made a sound.
Run, man!
It felt like they were all kind of floating on the air instead of walking. I tried to start the car engine, but suddenly it didn't start. I tried again and again, but nothing happened.
Stupid!
I was completely shocked by how the car suddenly got stuck like this.
Damn it!
The man said in a panicked voice, they're coming now. Please,
Run,
do
man!
something. I twisted the car key one last time, and finally, the car started. I pressed the accelerator, and the car picked up speed. We drove into the tunnel at full speed. I looked in the rearview mirror, and there was no one behind us. I made up my mind to reach home and call 911 to hand over this freak. I was almost close to getting out of the tunnel, just when a group of black shadows appeared and blocked the exit. I hit the brakes and stopped in front of
Don't hit the brakes!
This time, I didn't turn off the engine.
Run them niggas
It was hard
over!
for me to believe what I was seeing. There were no faces, no color, only black figures standing at some distance from the car. The man then screamed and said, why don't you leave me alone? And started to sob like a child. What happened next still gives me chills to this day. The group suddenly opened up all their eyes at the same time. Now, there were black shadows with huge, wide eyes. Their eyes were blood red and their pupils were pale white. I have never seen such horrifying eyes in my entire life.
Do something!
They all looked at the man beside me and made terrifying growls. For a second, it felt like we were being hunted by a pack of wolves. I broke free from my numbness and pressed the accelerator once again. The car drove into the black shadow group and we passed through them as air blew upon us. As we made it out of the tunnel, I finally saw red and blue lights coming from the other side. I saw 3 or 4 cop cars. I didn't call for 911 yet, but I was out of all senses and rational thinking. I was, in one word, exhausted. The man in the car was still sobbing and muttering, please let me go. Leave me alone. I know what I faced that night might seem like a made-up story to some, but if you believe me, then I do have a rational explanation behind that vicious night. The cops came and arrested the man. They told me He is convicted and sentenced to life imprisonment for mass murder in a cathedral. He broke out of prison a few hours back, but it's still really shocking to his state of mind. The cops took him back. I later read about that man. His name was Peter Shipman. One Sunday morning, he entered a church with 2 of his followers. After the prayer ceremony, his followers locked the church door from the inside. They shot 7 men and 5 women who came to attend the prayer.
Damn!
They robbed them and escaped the area. I can't even imagine how vicious that scenario would be.
Church people ain't got no money. Why don't you go to a casino and rob them? What are you doing? Would you get $78 and a collection plate worth of change?
When he shot all those people and left their bodies drenched in blood. But somehow, one of his followers drove their car into a tree while escaping. He died as his head bashed against the dashboard of the car. The man and his other follower ran away. Cops arrested the man under a dirty bridge. He was muttering, "Shadow people killed my partners." The body of the second follower was seen floating on the river near the bridge. Investigating officers claimed that the man killed the other partner to acquire the entire share. But if you ask me, I think it was those people's haunting spirits who took revenge on these 3 men. I have started day shifts in Uber now. I have decided to stay home at night for a couple of months to get over this unnatural incident. I don't know when I'll be able to go out at night again without the fear of shadow people.
Is it bad when that killer got in the car and said shadow people were after him? I thought he had pissed off some black people. I probably shouldn't be saying it now because I know it's racist, but that shit's racist, man. They're black!
This happened last year on Valentine's Day. I'm a 35-year-old male. I was working in an IT company where I met a girl. She joined the office as a fresher and started working under me as a trainee. Her name was Melissa.
Gay!
Everyone used to call her Molly. I've been an introvert since childhood. Due to my reserved nature, I hardly approach girls, even if I like someone. But Molly was completely opposite of me. She was outgoing and extremely extrovert. Anyways, due to her training, we used to spend most of the time together in the office. She was a bit younger than me. I kinda liked her carefree nature because it made me feel happy with her. One day, gathering all my courage, I asked her on a date with me. I was expecting a refusal or sudden news that she already had a boyfriend, but instead, she accepted. She told me that she always had her eye out for me, but due to my reserved nature, feared to approach me. We started going out and eventually, I shared many things with her about my life. People in the office started to pull my legs whenever Molly and I were spotted together by...
Did you share your penis with her? Doesn't sound like you did. You should have. Molly sound like baby mama material.
People in the office started to pull my legs whenever Molly and I were spotted together by them. We ignored them because we were having a nice time with each other. One day we went to the pub for a couple of drinks after office. Molly got really drunk, and she stayed at my place that day. The next day was Sunday, so I woke up late. I was going to take a shower when I heard sounds in the kitchen. At first, I thought someone broke in. So I tiptoed into the kitchen and saw Molly cooking breakfast. She smiled at me and said, "I'm making French toast. I hope you like it."
That's when I looked over and said, "Why are you wearing your clothes? Like, why are your clothes on? What are you doing?"
I got a bit surprised because I wasn't expecting her to stay till morning. After that day, things took a different turn in our relationship. Molly started to stay back at my place every now and then. I won't deny that I really liked her, but sometimes I used to feel out of space in my life. One evening, I came back home from the office. Molly took the day off that day. As I went to unlock my door, I found it already open. After entering, I saw Molly was watching TV laying at my couch. She smiled like usual and asked me how my day went. I was really awestruck this time. I asked her, "How did you get my keys?" To which she replied, "I made a copy for myself. I hope it's okay."
Damn.
I wanted to tell her it's not, but I chose not to. I should have told her that day.
He 100% has not had sex with this girl. Shame.
Anyways, she stayed the night like every other day. I was going through an important file in office when one of my colleagues came to my room and said, "Congratulations, Robert. You owe us a party." Like a completely clueless person, I stood there with a blank face. I came out of my office and noticed a small crowd of office people standing near Molly's desk surrounding her. She was smiling and blushing like a teenage girl.
Shit, she's got syphilis. Damn it. So 6th time this month. Frickin' floozies.
I thought it would be rude to ask her in front of everyone, so I confronted her when she was alone in the cafeteria. I said, "Molly, what the hell is going on?" She smiled and said, "Nothing. I just told everyone that we are a couple and are soon to be engaged." I know it was rude of me, but I laughed because I couldn't believe my ears. I said, "What? I never said anything like that to you. I mean, no offense, but I think I need more time before coming to a decision like that." I expected Molly to react in an angry way, but I never expected she would cross our limits that day. I was, after all, her senior, but she suddenly turned all pissed off and started to scream at me, saying, "Oh, really? You didn't take time to think that before jumping into bed with me?" Now, I already said I'm an introverted person, so the way Molly started a scene creating people gathered near the cafeteria, I was highly embarrassed and humiliated. I had to take a stand for myself too, because when a woman makes a comment like that about a man in a public place, the general outcome is people identify as the man at fault without even listening to his side. I looked at her with angry eyes and replied, "Molly, I never forced you onto anything. You only stole my house keys and made a copy of it. You only started to stay back at my apartment even though I never asked you to. I like you and wanted to spend more time with you so that we could know each other well, but I think I have known you enough now. Let's just cut off from whatever's going through your mind. I would prefer my freedom and peace more than anything in this world."
By the voice of the person narrating this person sounds like this is a complete and utter lie. This is that Maury type shit. You know what I'm saying? And the lie detector detected that is a lie.
Sorry, but I can't go on with this. I stormed out of the office that day. I changed my house locks the next day because I didn't want any more troubles. A week had passed and Molly avoided me, and I felt relieved that we had moved past the bitterness and can be on our own now. Our office held a party to celebrate Valentine's Day. Molly asked a guy named Sean from the tech department as her date to the party. Whether she was trying to make me jealous or maybe actually moved on, I didn't know. I asked one of my colleagues also as my date for the party. The party was happening at the office rooftop. The decorations of the party was perfectly themed on Valentine's Day. Big red hearts, balloons all over the place. There was even a small fountain pouring champagne in the right side. Everyone was dressed at their best. I saw Molly getting really drunk and dancing with her date. I sat down with some of my colleagues and started to drink too. Things were going well. Then we heard a terrible scream. I sprung up from my chair and everyone started to panic. I recognized the scream. It was Molly's voice. It took time to figure out that she was not in the party. We all started looking for her and found out she was screaming from the ladies' washroom. We all rushed towards her. As we reached the washroom, we saw a vicious sight. Sean was lying on the hallway right near the doorstep of the washroom. His head was bleeding heavily.
Oh my God.
At first, we all thought he was dead, but then one of our colleagues checked him and said, "Call an ambulance, we can still save him." Molly was sitting on the corner of the floor and sobbing like a little girl. Sean got admitted to the hospital immediately. Everyone asked Molly about what happened. She looked at me and started crying even louder. I went close to her and hugged her. Then I asked what happened.
You gotta smell her hair first. What happened? It's okay. You can tell me. They're there. All you gotta do is just tell me. Can I borrow $30?
She said Sean tried to take advantage of her and started forcing her. Out of fear, she hit him in the head with her beer bottle. Everyone at the office felt bad for her, and I took her to my place that night. I thought she is already in enough trauma, so I can show her some compassion that night. After that day, Molly again started to get close to me. I won't deny that out of sympathy, I kinda grew a soft corner for her too. Sean was still in the hospital, and the office decided to file a harassment case against him. I don't know why, something just didn't seem right. Molly was happy and jolly again in no time. One day I was walking through the same hallway where we found Sean. I noticed a security camera there, and an idea came to my mind. I immediately rushed to the security room and asked for footage of the Valentine's Day party. As I checked the footage, my suspicion became true. I saw Molly walking with Sean in the corridor, and suddenly she lifted her beer bottle and struck him on the head. You can now guess what happened after that. I submitted those tapes to the official authority. Not only they gave Sean a clean chit, but also fired Molly. Sean even filed a complaint against her to the cops, but Molly has suddenly disappeared. Last night, I received a text from an unknown number that reads, "All I did for you, Robert, you broke my heart. I will come back to get my revenge. Till then, much love, darling." I know it's definitely from Molly. I called the cops and informed them about the text in the morning. I don't know if I'll ever see her again, but Molly, if you're watching this, Stay the hell away from me! You are a disgusting person, and don't you dare threaten me this time!
I have a very hard time believing that that story's true. Yeah, she wanted me. Then she went and killed another guy for me. And then she came, and then I had more consensual bedtime with her. And then I checked the security cameras and found out she did it. And then I told everybody, and then she left.
I'll ever see her again? But Molly, if you're watching this, stay the hell away from me! You are a disgusting person, and don't you dare threaten me this time!
Don't you ever threaten me this time! Your child support ain't never been about that shit. Ain't never been about that shit.
Hi, my name is Cindy. I recently got out of therapy. Something happened a few months back that made my life miserable. I can't hardly sleep, eat, or do any normal thing. No matter where I go, a sense of fear always stood at the back of my neck. I stay in Canada. The locality where I live has a huge park at 5 to 7 minutes distance from my house. People often went there for morning workouts or calm evening walk.
Come on, Titty.
Similarly, when I felt stressed due to work or any other reason, I made a habit of going to that park for a walk. Due to its huge area, one could enjoy a peaceful time in the park easily. One evening, I was walking through the park. At some distance, I noticed a huge tree with long branches. The tree is not the only thing that caught my eyes. I also noticed someone lying on the ground right under a long branch of that tree. At first, it looked like a shiny metal thing, but when I got close, I saw it was a cell phone.
Hell yeah, free phone, baby! Take that shit to the pawn shop and cash that hoe. Money!
I looked around me thinking someone might have dropped it while walking, but at that time, I was the only one in that particular area of the park. Like a good citizen, I picked up the phone and decided to submit it to the cops on my way home. The cell phone was like any other Android phone. It had a black body and no extra feature that can stand out for identification. I was walking towards the police station while checking the phone. I didn't want to pry on anyone's privacy, but for a better understanding of the owner, I swiped the lock and the phone opened.
You are such a lying piece of shit. You know what I mean? I didn't want to invade the privacy of the owner, but I went into his phone anyway.
There was no picture on it. Even the contact list was empty. It startled me a bit that there's literally nothing in this phone that can lead to its owner. I was going to lock the screen and put it back in my bag just when I saw a few recorded videos stored in the TikTok app. I could tell that the owner recorded 3 videos to upload to TikTok, but somehow didn't. I was almost near the police station, but out of curiosity, I thought to go home and look at these videos first. I know it was that moment that made my life miserable. I got home and freshened up. I lied on my bed and played the first TikTok video from the cell phone.
Come on, Titty.
As the video began, an average height guy appeared on the screen. He was seen walking around the park. He didn't say anything, just kept walking. After walking for a few more seconds, he reached near the tree where I found the phone. He looked up at the branch, and the video ended there. My curiosity grew more and I moved on to the next video. In the next video, the camera stood still, featuring a messy bedroom. Then, the same man entered the room with a wide rope in his hand. I was completely clueless about what was happening in these videos, but I kept watching anyway. Now, I felt I could have stopped. At the end of the second video, the man looked at the camera and said, "Whoever is watching this, I will find you." And the video ended. Things started to feel very creepy now. I could tell that that man was on drugs or something because his behavior didn't appear normal to me. I lied on my bed blankly. I thought for a few seconds, should I play the last video or not? But then, I did. The last video started on the park again. It was dark all around and the video was recorded in night mode. The cell phone was kept on something, maybe a rock or a piece of wood lying on the ground. It captured the tree branch and the starry sky above it. There was no sign of the man when suddenly, a rope was thrown on the tree branch. I realized that the guy was tying the wide rope on the branch. At first, it took me a few seconds to understand what he was up to, but when I did, my stomach dropped. He tied the rope into a noose. Then he looked at the camera again and smiled in a very bizarre way. I could hear him climbing on the tree after that. My heart started to race like a horse. I thought to myself, is he really going to commit suicide? But before I could hold that thought, a loud sound of a neck snapping took place, and I saw the man's foot dangling in the air. I screamed and threw the phone away. I sat on the bed for at least 5 to 10 minutes thinking about what just happened. What did I just witness? After some time, I got my shit together and picked up the cell phone. My hands were still shaking. I kept the phone inside my bag and decided to go to the cops first thing in the morning. I got highly disturbed after watching these videos. Somehow, I went to the kitchen and started making dinner. I was making fries when suddenly I felt someone was standing behind me and watching me. I immediately turned around, but there was no one. The corridor leading to my kitchen was dark and empty. I already locked my doors and windows after getting home, so I was pretty sure that it's the video that is creeping me out. I finished my dinner and went straight to bed. I had enough for that day, so all I wanted was to sleep and get rid of that cell phone the next morning. I don't know how long I slept, but suddenly I felt a touch of wind on my face. I slowly opened my sleepy eyes and saw a dark face with 2 wide, bright eyes leaning on me. The face was literally breathing on me, and I could feel the warm breath. I got stuck at that moment. Didn't know what to do or what was actually happening. I have never seen such wide eyes in my entire life. I thought at that moment that I would die right now, but suddenly my phone rang and I turned on my left side. It was an alarm going off, and I noticed it's 4 a.m. already. I turned back in a rush and realized there was no one around me. I looked all over the apartment, but there was no sign of any person. I heaved a sigh of relief because it was just a bad dream. I blamed myself for bringing that cell phone home and watching those bizarre videos. I couldn't sleep anymore. I waited till morning. I kept drinking black coffee just to keep me awake. There was no way I was falling asleep while that cell phone is still in my house. Around 10 a.m., I got ready and went to the police station. 2 cops were sitting inside. Seeing me in such early hours surprised them a little. One cop said, "Yes, ma'am, how can we help you?" I handed him the cell phone and said, "Please take it. I found it in the park and I know I shouldn't have, but I did go through it and it has made my life a living hell. I was fumbling and panting in fear." The other cop gave me a glass of water and said, "Ma'am, please sit down. Take a deep breath and tell us what happened." I did what he said and calmed myself down. Then I explained the entire scenario of how a man has recorded his suicide in the form of TikTok videos on this cell phone. I told them that I found this phone under the same tree where he committed suicide. The cops exchanged surprised looks among each other, and then one of them took the phone and started to check it. The other cop went through the computer on his desk and said, "But ma'am, there are no reports of suicide happening in that park so far." I was surprised to hear it, but didn't say anything. I was feeling utterly disturbed by all that happened. The cops kept asking me more questions about when I found that phone, etc., while the other one kept searching the phone. After a while, I got up and said, "I just want to go home now. I had enough. Can't take this anymore." The cop who was asking me questions replied, "Yes, I can understand the impact of such a weird incident. Don't worry, you will be fine." I was ready to leave, just when the other cop who was checking the phone all this time got up and said, "Stop." I got shocked and said, "What happened?" The cop had a worried face. He asked in a hesitant voice, "Ma'am, you said when you found this phone, it had only 3 pre-recorded TikTok videos and nothing else, right?" I replied with a confused face, "Yes, like I said, the guy who recorded those videos maybe to upload later on TikTok, but why do you ask?" The cop didn't answer my question and showed the phone to the other cop. Both of their faces got filled with worries, and I said, "Can you please tell me what's going on?" The cop replied, "Ma'am, I think we should come with you and check on your house." I was completely shocked by hearing this. Why do they need to check my house? But before I could say something, they asked me, "Do you live alone?" I replied, "Yes, I do, but officer, why are you asking me such weird questions? What does me staying alone have anything to do with this cell phone?" The cop then showed the phone to me. Along with the videos, there was also a photograph on that phone. The photo was taken last night at my own house. In that photo, I was sleeping like a dead cat. I stay alone. I was all by myself in the house last night. Then who the hell took my picture? I have changed my house, even though the cops searched it back then. I attended therapy because something deep down in my heart keeps telling me that dark face with wide eyes wasn't just a dream I had that night. I'm not a judgmental person, but this one encounter has scarred me for life. I am Selena. I work in a restaurant. I share an apartment with a colleague of mine. Her name is Tina. Tina and I both met at work. Fortunately, we were both looking for a place and it was helpful to split the rent. Working at a restaurant can be hectic sometimes. After long, tiresome days, none of us had the energy to cook dinner or even go out for it. So we used to order food whenever we felt this way. One night, after coming from work, Tina and I decided to order pizza. There was a local pizza shop at 15 to 20 minutes distance from our house.
Better not be Domino's.
The shop has opened recently, so Tina and I both decided to try pizza from there. I called the shop and placed our order. We started to prepare for a movie night. After half an hour, our doorbell rang. I rushed to the door because I was feeling really hungry.
Pizza!
As I opened the door, I saw a pizza delivery guy standing outside. He was wearing the delivery costume. The cap on his head was covering half of his face.
Oh my God.
He said in a cold voice, "Your pizza, ma'am." Tina came and started to pay the guy. I don't know why this guy's behavior felt very off to me. As I went to take the pizza boxes from him, he weirdly touched my hand and brushed off his fingers on my wrist. It happened so quickly and unexpectedly that I couldn't react at that moment. The man looked at me and smirked in a very creepy way. We closed the door and he left. I didn't speak about it to Tina. We watched a horror movie and ate pizza. Around 12 of that night, we went to sleep. The living room and kitchen area are in the middle of the apartment. Our bedrooms stood facing each other. From my bedroom window, the entire view of the backyard was clearly visible. There was a big tree close to my window. I liked the moonlight in the room, so I often slept without closing the curtains. I was really tired that night, and the next day was a Sunday, so I planned to sleep till late morning. I don't clearly remember how long I slept, but suddenly, a sound woke me up. The sound was like leaves rubbing against each other. I slowly opened my eyes and looked around my room. The moonlight made my room clearly visible even in the dark. I didn't see anyone in the room. I thought it might be birds or wind creating this rusty sound. So I closed my eyes and tried to sleep again. But this time, I heard the sound one more time. The sound was a bit louder this time. I got up on the bed and my eyes accidentally went to the tree outside. I don't know how to explain this, but at that moment, I realized what people mean by fear in real life. There was a dark shadow sitting on the branch of the tree. I was sure it was a man, but due to the bushy leaves, I could only see his two wide eyes. I have never seen such a scary, blood-freezing stare. Our eyes met, and I couldn't move anymore. I wanted to scream, but I couldn't. I felt like the cat got my tongue. Drops of sweat started to appear on my forehead. The eyes kept looking at me without even blinking for a second. Frozen in fear, I kept sitting on my bed like a statue. Suddenly, I heard an owl hooting from that tree and broke free from that state of trance. I screamed in a loud voice, and within a second, Tina came rushing to my room. She opened the door of my room and turned on the light. I was breathing heavily. I heard a sound of a loud thud, like someone jumped from the tree. Being confused with my behavior, Tina asked in a panicked voice, "What is it, Selena? Why did you scream?" I said in a sobbing tone, "Someone was sitting in the tree and watching me sleep." I started to cry. Tina took out the flashlight and opened the window. She then searched the entire tree, but there was no one. She said in a comforting voice, "I think you just had a bad dream, Selena. Look, there's no one there." I said in the same sobbing tone, "No, you don't understand. I saw his eyes. His vicious, creepy eyes were staring at me all the time." Tina comforted me for a while and put me back to sleep. She closed the window and pulled the curtains. I somehow went back to sleep. Tina got back to her room. I felt like she didn't believe me and thought I actually dreamed all of this. But I was really sure that someone was sitting in the tree and watching me sleep. The next morning, When I woke up and went to the living room, I saw Tina shouting at someone over the phone. It took me some time to realize what she was saying. As I listened to her attentively, the hair at the back of my neck stood up in terror. Tina was telling someone, "How can you be so irresponsible? You should have called us once last night. I'm calling the cops. This is utterly terrifying for us." She then disconnected the phone and sat beside me with a terrifying face. I asked her, "What happened, Tina?" She replied in a freaked out voice, "I went to the backyard to check after you said someone broke in last night. I found this cap under the tree." She showed me the cap she picked up from the backyard. It was that same cap the creepy pizza guy wore last night. My face turned pale as I realized he watched me for God knows how long, sitting in that tree. I said, "What the fuck? We should inform the cops about this guy and also call the pizza shop. They can give us details on this guy." Tina pressed my hand and said, "I don't want to scare you, Selena, but I just got some very bizarre news from them. I called the pizza shop to complain about their employee, but what they told me has scared me too." My eyes got stuck in fear. I said in a shaken voice, "Why? What did they say?" Tina replied, "The pizza shop told me that they sent the delivery guy to deliver the pizza at our address, but the guy never reached our place or the shop. Someone knocked him out midway and stole his jacket and cap. The shop thought the guy must have delivered us and left for home, but when he didn't show up in the morning, they called the cops. The cops have found the poor guy lying unconscious in a dingy alley nearby. No one has the minimum idea who was the guy that delivered our pizza last night." I couldn't believe my ears. Tina and I immediately rushed to the police station. We saw the actual delivery guy with a bandage over his head. He was sitting there and telling the cops about what happened to him. I also told the cops how the creepy imposter behaved with me last night. I even told them how he kept watching me in the middle of the night from the tree. The cops are still looking for this man. We have described his face to the cops for identification. I don't know what his problem was, but creepy, fucked up dude who injured an innocent man and scared 2 women to death, may we never meet again.
Bro, that first story is the one that scared me on this one. The one where the girl turned out to be a killer. That's some M. Night Shyamalan type of twist right there. But yo, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to comment, like, and or subscribe. Also, make sure to check out IMR Scary Tales. His scary story videos are awesome. Twisms.